Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now, if you've been following this channel, you've watched many episodes of Speed Model, and you'd have seen me do texture mapping a lot of the time. Clearly, texture mapping is not a very difficult concept to understand. You just take an image and slap it on the surface of a mesh. But if we were to go down and try to understand, what exactly is going on when we do texture mapping, then there actually is a little bit to discuss about. So let's try to explore this. Let's try to understand this from the point of view of, say, you are a games programmer and you're using a piece of software like OpenGL to help you do texture mapping. What would you do in that regard when all you have to issue your instructions is some lines of code? As it turns out, texture mapping is actually the mapping between one coordinate system and another. You see, your image has its own coordinate system. And by that, what I mean is, well, you can specify any location within your texture image by actually giving a horizontal and vertical position. What we're trying to do when we texture map a mesh is we're trying to say what point in the image every vertex of that mesh maps to. So really, this is a very simple texture mapping. Notice that for all these vertices, we're actually assigning them to one set of texture coordinates. So yeah, this is actually how texture mapping works at a low level. You have to assign a texture coordinate to every vertex, and during the rendering process, what happens is the texture coordinate gets interpolated throughout the entire surface of the mesh. When that happens, what you can actually do is, for any position on the surface of the mesh, you'll be able to find a corresponding position on the texture image. And that is how you basically transfer the entire image to the surface of the mesh, because now you have a mapping between the two. That is why they call it a texture map, because really it's a mapping of two different coordinate spaces. Many 3D software like Blender hide this away from us. All we need to do is to just say where the mesh maps to on the image itself. The software figures out where all the coordinates are and uses that to do your texture mapping. So really, at the end of the day, you are specifying where all the coordinates are. You're just not using numbers to do it. And that is texture mapping in a nutshell. That's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, consider checking out the rest of my work on my channel. Alternatively, you may be interested in a playlist of all the other episodes of Friday Minis. If you'd like to show me some monetary support, I am on Patreon. You can find a link to my campaign in the video description. Of course, you can simply like this video or leave a comment. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. To keep in touch with my future uploads, do subscribe to this channel. And for even more updates, check out the official Twitter account for this channel at 0612TV. Thank you for your support.